Okay, let's be honest. UFOs, they kind of have that X factor, that mystery that just draws you in. It's like real life meets science fiction, but where's the line between, I don't know, fantasy and fact?
Right.
That's what we're looking at today.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into the Condon Report.
Hmm.
It was this huge undertaking back in the 60s to, like, bring some real science to this whole UFO craze. Like, picture it as this epic, myth-busting mission. I mean, come on. Who hasn't looked up at the night sky and wondered if we're really alone out here?
Yeah.
That's what's so cool about this deep dive. We're tackling one of the most thorough attempts to figure out what's really going on up there.
What's interesting about the Condon Report is it's all about timing, right?
Yeah.
It drops right in the middle of this, like, UFO sighting frenzy.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. Cold War tension, Sputnik's up there doing its thing, and everyone's seeing weird lights in the sky.
Oh, yeah. Like, can you imagine the media back then, too? I mean, no internet to fact-check anything, just newspapers and radio, like, hyping everything up.
That's it.
Probably made it hard to tell what was real and what was,
Exactly. It was like this perfect storm, right? Public anxiety was through the roof, and the Air Force was in a tough spot.
Yeah, I bet.
They had to figure out, was this a real national security threat?
Right.
Plus, they had to calm everyone down.
Yeah.
People were freaking out.
Makes sense they'd want to take it seriously then.
They did. Big time.
Okay.
They poured $500,000 into this thing.
Oh.
Which, back then,
Yeah.
that was serious cash. It was like the Air Force going to the University of Colorado and saying, listen, we need the best minds you got. Figure this whole UFO thing out.
So that's where Dr. Edward Condon and his crew come in.
Exactly.
And this wasn't just a bunch of, conspiracy theorists in a basement, right?
No.
Like, this was legit.
This was like the A-team of science. You had scientists, engineers, you name it. They had psychologists, even people who studied weather. Like, they wanted to look at every single angle.
Makes sense.
From mistaken planes to hoaxes, weather stuff, even how our minds can play tricks on us. It was a seriously comprehensive approach,
I think that's what makes the Condon Report so, I don't know, so fascinating.
Yeah.
It wasn't just some UFO club saying, we believe. This was about, using actual science to try and understand this thing that everyone was talking about.
Exactly. It was like, let's get real. Let's use the scientific method, right?
Right.
But the funny thing is, after all that research, the report basically says, nope, no aliens here, folks.
So wait, all that excitement, all that money, all those brilliant minds. And the conclusion was nothing to see here.
Pretty much. They dug deep into 59 UFO cases, and most of them, well, they just boiled down to mistaken identity. Like, people saw something, but it wasn't aliens.
Okay, so what were they seeing then?
Well, sometimes it was hoaxes, sometimes just not enough evidence to go on. Like, there was this one case where a pilot reported this strange light moving super fast. Turned out to be, a weather balloon way up high, catching the sunset just right.
Oh, wow.
Easy to mistake if you're miles up in the air, right?
Yeah. But you have to wonder, how did people take that news? Especially the folks who were sure they'd seen something. Well, something really out there.
That's where things get interesting. The Condon Report wasn't just about science. It was a cultural bombshell. And people's reactions, well, let's just say they were all over the place. I mean, it was like pouring gasoline on a fire. You had some people saying, see, I told you, the government's hiding something.
Right.
And then others were like, this proves that UFOs are a bunch of baloney.
So even with all that science, the report didn't really, solve anything.
Yep.
If anything, it just made the whole believer versus skeptic thing even worse.
Yeah, pretty much. And it gets even trickier when you think about Dr. Condon himself. He wasn't exactly Mr. Open-minded when it came to UFOs even before the study started.
Oh, so imagine you're someone who really believes they saw a UFO, right?
Right.
You've probably been laughed at, people don't believe you, maybe you're even scared to talk about it. And then the Air Force goes and does this huge study, spends a ton of money, and puts it in the hands of someone who's already made up his mind.
Yeah, it's like, how can you trust the results?
Exactly. It's no wonder people felt like the whole thing was rigged against them from the start.
Right, and you can't forget about the whole Cold War thing going on.
Oh, yeah, good point.
The Air Force, they needed everyone focused on the Soviets not freaking out about aliens.
Right. Mass panic over UFOs wouldn't have helped anyone.
Not at all. So whether they meant to or not, the Condon Report kind of served a political purpose too. It was like, hey, look, everything's fine. No need to worry about little green men. Focus on the real enemy.
So you have this official report basically saying, case closed, But then you also had this growing distrust in the government. Sounds like the perfect recipe for, I don't know, conspiracy theory.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the kicker, to make things even crazier. Some of Condon's own team, the scientists who did the actual research, they came out and said they didn't agree with the report.
Wait, hold on. There was like infighting?
Yeah. A few of them felt like their findings were, twisted around, downplayed, even ignored in the final report.
Seriously?
Yeah, they said there were cases that couldn't be explained away so easily, cases that needed more study.
So now it's not just UFO enthusiasts talking about a cover-up. You have actual scientists from the study saying something's fishy.
It's like a whole other layer of weirdness to this story. The Condon Report was supposed to be the final word on UFOs, but instead, it kind of opened up a whole can of worms. More questions, more doubt, more fuel for the debate.
And all this happened decades ago. Makes you wonder, did this report change how we think about UFOs today?
Oh, it definitely had an impact.
Yeah.
Right after it came out, there was a noticeable drop in public interest. Almost like people were just tired of it all.
Like they were ready to move on.
Exactly. But I have a feeling that's not the end of the story.
It's kind of wild to see how this whole UFO thing has, like, changed over the years.
Mm-hmm.
From everyone being obsessed with it to the Air Force trying to shut it down with science, then the backlash, and now people doing their own research.
Yeah, and that evolution's still going on today, right? Like now you've got the government jumping back in with that new office, the AARO.
The way.
The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARO. It's basically their UFO headquarters now. But they're calling them UAPs these days, unidentified aerial phenomena.
Oh, right, UAPs.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to ditch all the, the little green men and flying saucer baggage that comes with UFOs.
Totally. UAP just sounds more, I don't know, more scientific. It's like saying, look, there's stuff we can't explain up there, and we're going to take it seriously.
It's weird, though, right? Like, the Condon Report was supposed to debunk UFOs, but it kind of feels like it accidentally helped create this new, more open way of studying UAPs.
Yeah.
By showing what we don't know, it kind of forced everyone to, well, start asking better questions.
Yeah, it's like science isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions, figuring out better ways to find those answers, and being open to changing your mind when you learn something new. And that's true for everything, not just UFOs.
So after going through all this Condon Report stuff, what's the main takeaway for our listeners?
First thing I think is remembering when all this happened. Like the Cold War was a big deal, and science wasn't as advanced as it is now.
And even with the best intentions, things like who's paying for the research and what those researchers already believe can affect the results.
Exactly. Which is why it's important to think for yourself. Don't just accept what any report says, no matter who wrote it. Ask questions, look at things from different angles, and decide for yourself what you think the evidence means.
The big thing about the Condon Report, though, is that it didn't really end the debate. If anything, it created more questions than answers. But those questions are what sparked all this new research, with people trying to figure out what's really out there.
Right. It reminds us that finding the truth is a long process. And even when we don't get the answers we're looking for, the search itself is pretty amazing.
So the next time you're looking up at the stars and thinking, are we alone? Think about the Condon Report, not just for the answers it gave, but for the questions it made people ask. Because who knows, maybe someday we'll actually have those answers. But until then, the mystery's still out there, and that's kind of exciting, right?
Yeah, totally.